We've learnt our lesson. We're going to call the bait. The opponent throw the torch long as expected. They then switch out into Virizion, and here comes Scolipede. This is where things get interesting. Sludge Bomb would one-hit KO, but we'd rather farm them down than concede a farm down ourselves. We fire off the Sludge Bomb, go for the undercharge, and the undercharge looks like an absolute beauty. We're going to stop tapping, let the opponent double kick farm down, and that is perfect to acid range. Welcome back to the channel. As always, I love to bring you the content that you want to see. I keep getting requests to run XL Buffed Scolipede in the Ultra League Summer Cup. This Pokemon was hella expensive to power up. The second move is actually pretty cheap. It's only 12k, but this thing is level 49, which cost me 600,000 Stardust. The question we look to answer today, is it worth that massive investment? The buff it received this season was gaining access to Poison Sting, meaning it now can spam its charge moves at a very alarming rate. The Summer Cup meta, I'm not entirely sure is the best meta for Scolipede to perform. It's walled by common threats such as Skeledirge, Jellicent and Tentacruel. With that in mind, team building today, I've tried to bring two things that got to play into all three of them threats, as well as just fire types in general, because Scolipede being a mono bug type isn't going to fancy a fire type. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. As always, when I showcase my own battles on my channel, I don't put the best battles first. This is the order that I played them in, so you're going to see me figure the team out as the video progresses. And in battle number 1, Jamie Finn is the algorithm. Victory Bell can only hit this thing for resisted damage. The opponent fire off the Leaf Blade, double resisted Scolipede. Poison Stinging away, throws the X-Scissor, forcing the first Protect Shield of the game. The opponent then bank a boatload of energy and make a very nice catch, catching onto Jellicent. However, I'm not displeased with this catch, to be honest, as Cradily, despite being a grass type, is somewhat awkward into Jellicent. Running Acid as a quick move, we're hitting for resist and one grass knot isn't lethal. So the chip damage is always welcome. We rebank an X-Scissor and then send out Cradily. I'm hoping after tanking the X-Scissor, they're actually in grass knot range, but still this big jellyfish is able to survive. Speaking of surviving, they're one short of a Shadow Ball, so Surf simply won't cut it, and we should be able to Acid farm down afterwards. The opponent not wanting to concede a farm down, and send back out Victory Bell. Rather than tanking the Rock Tomb, throw the Leaf Blade, removing me from the field of play. Scolipede re-enters the arena, wastes no time, fires off the X-Scissor, forces the final Protect Shield, and I'm thinking, what the heck is in the back? It still isn't Leaf Blade range. Sludge Bomb would probably get the job done. Leaf Blade does not. We save Scolipede as the third shield, and send out the big squid. I've got a horrible habit of dying with 2 shields, so I'm going to shield the first Leaf Blade. This Victory Bell, now generating energy at a very alarming rate, is going to reach another one, and I'm going to tank that as I don't know what's in the back yet. I'm going to look for the full acid farm down. The opponent clearly think I was going to throw a charge move. No, you were getting fully farmed down, trainer. They send out Jellicent just to feed me free energy, and out comes Belly Bolt. Electric type into a water type. They might think it's an advantageous matchup, but it isn't. Big Tentacruel, going to land the Scold. Reach the Sludge Wave, Belly Bolt, going to be straight in and straight out. We're going to Acid Farm down Vic and take that game. So far, so good with Scolipede actually pulling its weight in battle number 1. And in battle number 2, we find a decent lead, to be honest. In this battle of bugs, we have the pace and advantage. We alternate between 5 quick moves and 4 to our X-Scissor, whereas the Shadow Claw variant of Gliscopod is straight 5s to them Aqua Jets. We tank the Aqua Jet and ouch, that hurt. Scolipede is bloody glassy. We throw the X-Scissor, forcing the first Protect Shield. We're going to throw the second X's, and this is going to do some decent chip damage. I'm just going to concede the farm down, knowing Tentacruel can just come in and farm them down in return. I think Tentacruel is arguably the best Pokemon in the entire meta. It can kind of play its way out of almost any matchup. Even the Jellicent one isn't all that bad. The opponent actually bank back-to-back X's and send out the Squid. What I've noticed in GBL, if the opponent enters the mirror behind an energy, they're likely looking for you to switch out, as they've got a better counter for this mirror in the back. So with that in mind, trainer, I'm more than content to stay in. Whilst we see this super boring mirror match play out, let's talk about Scolipede. It's got a 3600 stat product with a 170 attack stat. It's kind of similar stat distribution to Golurk. I think one of the drawbacks of Scolipede is in its shadow form, it's hella glassy, but its attack stat isn't quite high enough. Other common glass cannons in this meta, stuff like Typhlosion and Zapdos, have a higher attack stat than you, meaning you can't even throw it on CMP, like I was doing in yesterday's video of Pinsir. However, my team read, it seems to be a good one. They did indeed have a hard answer to Tentacruel in the back. I send out Cradily. Cradily plays the CMP tie. He does not win because I'm an absolute potato. Gastrodon, I always think of a really bulky RPS snail, but apparently they've got a 10 higher attack stat than Cradily, but this game's still signed, sealed and delivered. I could let this go, I could shield, whatever I do, we are going to be emerging victorious. We're going to double shield here, the opponent go for the wham, bam, combo play, fire off the Scold, removing Cradily from the field of play. We've got residual energy on our own Tentacruel. We're going to win the race to said Scald. Scald will move in Tentacruel from the field of play. We're going to Acid Farm down Glisserpod, and this one is going to end in victory. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see said Glass Cannon that we don't want to see. We throw one Poison Sting, transfer the Incinerate onto Tentacruel, and out comes Cradily. This is a neutral matchup. If you're able to get the attack drop the first time on the Scald, this is a win in the zero shield scenario. However, unfortunately, we're unsuccessful in the attack drop. There's a 30% chance nowadays. Back in the day, it was 50-50. The opponent is going to be able to survive this move, as they have a 100% chance of debuffing my attack. They're going to be left low, and now we are even in Rock Tomb range. If you get the double attack drop, they're forced to Rock Tomb and Grass Knot. It still doesn't knock out, but when you don't get any attack drops, they can go straight Rock Tomb and be an absolute degenerate. I'm going to send out Scolipede. Scolipede going to get that Sting farm down. When Typhlosion does return, I'm going to throw 2, and the X is a bait. The opponent lightly shield. Typhlosion uses shield everything. The bait is successful, and here comes Cradily. The opponent farm up to a potential Blast Burn, which hits for neutral and would do a lot of neutral damage at that. We invest a huge Protect Shield, and out comes Greninja. The opponent might look to call a Rock Tomb bait. I know my win con is knocking this thing out and forcing the final Protect Shield. Grass Knot sneaks through the Protect Shield. Down goes Greninja. Back out comes Typhlosion. And the second I reach this charge move, this is game over. Rock Tomb forces the opponent's final protection. They can farm up to 100 energy. It simply does not matter. Cradily has done its job. We elect to let it go down, and Scolipede looks to close the show. The opponent lightly Thunder Punch bait, but I know that no bait is ever saving this opponent's fate. We shoot at the Thunder Punch, reach the Sludge Bomb, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Ouch. This is one of the worst leads we can possibly see. Everything is resisted. We say switch into the big squid, and out comes Jellicent. We're going to farm up, throw the Scald on CMP, and this is where I'm really praying to the RNG god. Show me the debuff! Ugh. I think this is a prime example of just how busted Tentacruel is in the Ultra League. We are literally hitting for only resisted the entirety of the time. They're hitting for neutral, but Tentacruel pushes this big jellyfish close. The opponent settles for the surf. Tentacruel withstands the damage. If we can actually reach back-to-back Skulls, we're going to win this zero shield matchup. We're going to need damage registration error, which unfortunately we don't get, which is really brutal. But Tentacruel more than hold its own there, to be honest, despite the type disadvantage matchup. The opponent was able to get a massive farm down. We tank a charge move, over farm, fire off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor will move in Jellicent from the field of play. We're then going to throw one Poison Sting, transfer the Incinerate onto Cradily. And this is where I think you're going to see me progress further in the video. I shield this move up. The opponent always is going to go Torch Song there. Jamie Finn, grow some nuts. You're going to see me make that adjustment later down the line. As I shielded the first Torch Song like an absolute potato, the second one is going to do more, and I'm kind of obliged to shield this up. That Torch Song wouldn't have been lethal. However, if I would have tanked it, I was in danger of getting Incinerate farm down. We throw the next Rock Tomb. You can see there, I attempt to make a catch. Game says no. I'm not entirely sure why I couldn't switch out. It is what it is. This game isn't winnable, and I'm going to concede the match. 9-6/Scopely, fix your bloody game. In the next battle this time, we see Cradily in the lead position. Rock Tomb would probably one-hit KO, but X-Scissor is also super effective, and Scolipede has a decent attack. You see that X-Scissor does a lot. We land the X-Scissor and then catch the inevitable Rock Tomb onto our squid. I could throw this Scald, winning CMP, well likely winning CMP. It's actually IV dependent in this matchup. My Tentacruel has a 5 attack. It's pretty hard for Cradily to beat me in CMP tie. However, I was kind of worried the opponent would catch the Scald there, and I'd rather just over farming up to 100 energy before looking to knock out. You can see there, pause a turn, ensuring the Scald is not caught, and it isn't. The opponent then sends out Stunfisk, so I'm very, very appreciative I've got switch advantage. We land the Scald. We're able to get the attack drop there, but we really didn't need it, because we've got a very, very hard check in the form of King Cradily. Alarm bells are instantly ringing, the opponent's debuffed and staying in an atrocious matchup. So whatever the opponent's third is, I'm clearly not a huge Cradily fan. I'm still not shielding up a debuff Mud Bomb, honestly, that is pathetic damage. I overfarm, pause, ensuring the Grass Knot is not caught. Grass Knot lands on its intended target and down goes Stunfisk. Out comes Charizard, which kind of makes sense why they were forced to stay in not only the lead matchup, but their secondary matchup too. We land the Rock Tomb, pivot out into Scolipede. And this has got to be the world's worst bait. Jamie, what are you doing, lad? X is a double resisted. These early battles really weren't my best work. I am playing at like 3 AM to be fair. On lunch break, but that is no excuse. I masturbated like a potato. Trainer, if you Dragon Claw like a potato, you're going to get 2 shield flexed on. The opponent also a fan of killing poor defenseless cats. We acid farm down and take that game. Heading into the next battle, this is one of the things I was really worried about when I was going to use Scolipede. We are fully walled in this matchup. We bank the Sludge Bomb, catch the Scald onto the mirror where it is going to be resisted, hoping that energy is more useful against something that isn't named Tentacruel. The opponent here farming up a boatload of energy. I expected them to bank the energy and switch out, but it looks like they're more than content to stay in. They throw 1 further Scald. We're going to return 5 of a Scald ourselves. I'm getting close to 100 energy, and 100 is the maximum, so I need to start throwing energy. The opponent tank the Scald, then send out Belly Bolt. I'm hoping I can reach back-to-back Scolds. If I can't, potentially Sludge Waving was the correct play. We reached the first. I actually see my switch timers up, so I'm actually going to send out Cradily, as switch timers are so heavily misaligned. Cradily, of course, a complete wall to all this energy from Belly Bolt. Belly Bolt only has electric type charge moves. This thing's number 1 on PV Poke, and it is so bloody annoying. We land the Rock Tomb again. We're not going to shield this up, and we're going to look for the acid farm down. Switch timers are misaligned. The opponent not wanting to see the farm down, send out Victory Bell. Victory Bell able to win the charge attack priority. Leaf Blade, of course, will be removing me from the field of play. But we've banked energy on Scolipede, and Scolipede looks to close the show. Scolipede fires off the X-Scissor. X-Scissor hits for neutral. X-Scissor forces the opponent's first Protect Shield. Scolipede continuing to farm up, going to release the next X-Scissor. This X-Scissor will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. I've got 2. Sludge Bomb would still be resisted, but would hit hard. We get Leaf Blade baited. We then pivot out into Tentacruel, looking to make a catch. The catch isn't the cleanest, but we actually was able to catch the Sludge Bomb off Mr. Opponent. There we pause, make sure the X-Scissor lands on its intended target. Scolipede not only needs to knock out this Victory Bell, but that Tentacruel and the low health Belly Bolt. The opponent waiting out their clock, send out Tentacruel. We pause, make sure the Sludge Bomb lands on its intended target. I actually pause for 2 turns there, and that ends up being a CMP tie. I can't believe Sludge Bomb, Shadow, and Shadow Crime isn't lethal. We need the next poison thing to knock out, or they'll reach another Scald. Ah! Oh, honestly, such a frustrating battle, but GG's to that opponent. I think I'm actually going to take the blame for that battle. That is Jamie Finn letting Scolipede down, as opposed to Scolipede letting me down. In the next battle, we see Belly Bolt in the lead position. We're going to farm up, throw the X's out, winning charge attack priority. This might go shield, as Belly Bolt users love to shield the first move, and the opponent does exactly that. It's how I intend to play this matchup out. It's how I played the Glissobod matchup out earlier. I'm going to soft lose this matchup, take my shield advantage, and then just send in Cradily, as Cradily has a very, very advantageous matchup here. There, I throw the Sludge Bomb. A Sludge Bomb does do more than X's, and I was only reaching 1 further move. Again, you're going to see I haven't cut out any of my poorly played battles here. I'm going to end up throwing on CMP, anticipating winning it, but I actually don't. I've got a 148 attack compared to a 141. Whilst Cradily is such a good Pokemon in this meta, as is Tentacruel, in like the Great League, I always use a really attack-weighted Pokemon, and when I'm using these bulky ones, I'm making so many mistakes playing the CMP ties, I simply don't win. Speaking of which, we definitely don't win CMP tie against Victory Bell. The opponent had to spam the charge move there, looking to dodge my Rock Tomb. So with that in mind, we bank the Rock Tomb, make the pivot into Tentacruel. However, this is going to get super dicey. You can see we're getting a huge amount of lag as well, and both my Pokemon are running out of HP. I don't know what happened since Niantic, or Scopely, sorry, gave us that forced update. The lag has been horrendous. This Victory Bell is very close to the next move, so I've got a decision to make. Do I throw or do I hold the energy? I opt to hold my energy, and that is a game-winning play on my part. Here you're going to see me make quite a smart play. So I throw 1 acid. I then send out Cradily, so that Incinerate never registers, as it would register on turn 4. We get off the Rock Tomb on the 3rd turn. We've banked 1 extra quick move on Tentacruel and knocked out the Skeledirge. Back out comes Victory Bell. The opponent forced to dump energy, where Tentacruel will close the show. Victory Bell will not be reaching another move. We acid farm down, leaving with the Scald, and we are able to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. You can see the opponent has force closed the app by the huge amount of lag we're getting. I can't really blame them, to be honest. The game was there from 2-1, but they did manage to find their own lose con. In the next battle, once again, we see Tentacruel in the lead position. We're going to do the same as we did last time. Look to catch a Scald. Onto Tentacruel, our catch attempt unsuccessful, and out comes Jellicent. Tentacruel gonna fire off the Scald. Please give me a debuff, please. Yes, let's go. As we debuffed, we should be able to survive 2 Shadow Balls and reach 2 further Scolds, winning the 0 shield matchup, or ideally obtaining me a shield advantage. Tentacruel, 1 acid and the Scald, ensuring I throw a disciplined timing. This second Shadow Ball still shouldn't knock me out, and I'm really hoping I do reach that next goal. Shadow Ball gets me low. Again, we don't get the move off. We relied on DRE. I actually thought I survived a bit more health. I played that match about before, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. You can see here I'm super frustrated. I throw my X's at instantly, which is kind of a bit of a potato play if I'm being honest. I should have overfarmed, but frustration is certainly setting in. We tank this gold, make the pivot into Cradily. The opponent's actually got a lot of energy here. On the off chance of running Blizzard, I am going to shield. Wow. I'll be honest, the entire season, Scolipede, without a doubt, has been the most frustrating Pokemon I've ran. Like, what are its targets in this meta? Outside of, like, Virizion, which we haven't seen to this point in the video, it just doesn't really have any targets. You can see I'm making mistakes all over the place, and it is just generally a really frustrating experience. I can tell why 99% of other content creators use, like, try-hard, basic meta Pokemon, because it kind of is what it is. If you're going to run this Spice, my elo isn't even that bad. It's in like the 2300. You are facing an uphill battle for the entirety of your sets. Today, I've actually done something that a lot of other content creators do on the off chance they're running Spice. They pair one spicy Pokemon with two bulky meta threats. We're using two of the best Pokemon in the meta, Tentacruel and Cradily, but the issue for me is that I can't get out of my usual play pattern. I'm always looking to maximise energy, throwing on CMP, and I just keep bloody losing these CMP ties, and it is such a frustrating experience. In the next battle, to add some salt into my wounds, we find somewhat of a core breaker. All three of my Pokemon are using poison type quick moves, so even my grass type isn't going to be that great into Gastrodon when shields are in play. However, as I say that, the opponent shield my first charge move has certainly given me a chance of winning this battle. We call the body slam bait, because who isn't going to bait Scolipede? Who the heck is full sending against this bloody bug? People probably don't even know what move it's got. Hence we're able to force that early shield advantage. The opponent then send out Skeledirge, trying to snipe. We save Scolipede and send out the big squid. This Skeledirge actually on a Hex as opposed to Incinerate. You can see yet another mistake from me here. We throw 3 acids and the move, which is alignment. Of course, you always want to throw out 1, 4 and 7. So what I always say to people, if you're not enjoying battling, don't battle. So what we're actually going to do, I think I finished this set. I play this battle and the next battle just to round out the set. Then I have a little break because this just isn't it. I'm honestly not having fun. I'm just trying to showcase a Pokemon that has been requested. If I'm being brutally honest, I think its best use is what I'm doing here with it. Using it as a bloody third shield. As frustrated as I am going to try and lock in and win this battle. So of course I've got to be mindful the opponent's got Gastrodon in the back. Both my charge moves are neutral. Grass Knot does do more. It doesn't come with that debuff chance, but it does do more damage. And I'm always just going to straight Grass Knot, because if the opponent caught a Rock Tomb, I think I just uninstall the game and just never play again, because this night of battling was probably the least fun I've had in a long time. Which is kind of unfortunate, to be honest. I have enjoyed this season, however, this battle and Scolipede in general. Don't try it. Don't waste your Stardust. It just isn't the Pokemon. Out comes Gastrodon, we knock him out with the Grass Knot. Back out comes Tentacruel. We're outside of Scold range, but we're not even going to tank a charge. We reach the next Grass Knot and Cradily hard carries the team, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, Scolipede into Skeledirge, and this is where I said to myself, stop playing. This is going to be the final battle before we take a well-deserved break. We throw 1 Poison Sting, transfer the Incinerate onto Tentacruel, and out comes Swampert. By no means is Swampert a particularly good Tentacruel answer, especially if you're not running Earthquake. While the Mud Shots are super effective, their charge moves are fully walled, whereas our charge move of Scald at least hits for neutral. We're still outside of Hydro Cannon range. I'm going to tank this charge move and then going to farm up 1 quick move before the next Hydro Cannon's reached and throw my Scald. Like this. We've got residual energy to potentially reach a charge move if the opponent should let this go. The opponent wants to keep that super positive alignment, fully Mud Shot farm me down. We've now got a shield advantage, which is certainly something that Cradily can cook with. I'm going to tank 1 Hydro Cannon. I'm going to try and Poison Sting farm him down. I recognise I simply can't do that. So I'm forced to throw this X's up on the charge attack priority. Down goes Swampert. 1 Poison Sting and the pivot into Cradily, and out comes Gator. Cradily looks to close the show. Of course, I am going to shield this charge move up. We're going to lose CMP tie, so I'm not going to be a potato. I'm going to throw 4 acids and the Grass Knot and give the opponent a decision to make. Are they going to shield Gator, or are they going to get knocked out? Down goes Gator, back out comes Skeledirge. Skeledirge instantly going to be debuffed by the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb will be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Cradily still with that shield to hide behind. I am going to shield this move. Scolipede's still alive and well. Is Scolipede going to knock out this thing? No, it's not. Once again, going to be used as a third shield. We make the catch of the Shadow Ball back onto Scolipede. The opponent fully undercharged. We're able to reach the Sludge. Sludge is going to do more than X-Scissor. X-Scissor is double resisted. The opponent going to leave one Incinerate off the charge move. We're going to throw one Acid and the Rock Tomb, and somehow we once again escape with a victory. GG's to that opponent, and Cradily, I salute you, buddy. You have carried my ass to this point. So you can see here, we're queuing up again. You can see I have closed the app. We had like an hour break. We had some coffee, and we're going to try and lock back in. Finally, we see a fantastic lead. The opponent save switches into Skeledirge, and I send out the big squid. We can survive any one move. I think most people are always Shadow Balling, but I don't really care, to be honest. You enjoy yourself, trainer. We're then going to farm up, throw 2 Acids and the Scold. If it goes unshielded, we'll put them into Acid farm down range. We get the farm down. And if Levani does return and doesn't want to dump energy, you better believe I am full sending the Sludge Wave. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Come on. Sludge Wave are forcing me a shield advantage, and the opponent's actually on a double fire strategy. We send out Cradily, and we should be in a fantastic position. I've got 2 shields. I'm just going to shield at whatever they throw. They go for the side shot. It doesn't really matter here. I actually throw 4 Acids as opposed to 2 intentionally, despite giving the opponent 2 free turns instead of 1. This ensures I've got residual energy good to go in case the opponent look to let that move go. They actually invest to protect shield, continue to farm up. Cradily easily picks up the 1-hit KO with the Rock Tomb. Back out comes Levani. Levani gonna knock out Cradily. We've already got an X-Scissor banked on Scolipede, and Scolipede is gonna close the show. Can you believe it? Scolipede picking up a victory. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle. It's only took 21 minutes at 2 times speed for us to finally see the Virizion I was hoping was more common. The opponent save switches into Skeledirge, and we send out the big squid. I'm going to fire off this Scold, kind of at suboptimal timing, fishing for the attack drop before the opponent inevitably fire off the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, no attack drop does come through. The opponent does YOLO that Shadow Ball. Tentacruel withstands the damage. The opponent going to fire off the Torch Song. I know I survive the subsequent Incinerate, so I'm going to reach 2 further Skulls. So like this, we're either going to force switch or just dump this energy. Ball in the opponent's court. Trainer, I promise you don't Incinerate farm down. Trainer, you don't get there. Tentacruel able to survive the Incinerate to reach 1 further Skull. Tentacruel takes back switch and obtains shield advantage. The opponent doesn't want the smoke, and they concede the match. Tentacruel is honestly like a cheat code. That is such a busted Pokemon. As is Cradily, to be fair to it. The same can't be said for Scolipede. If Scolipede was any good, you better believe Jamie Finn would not be the first person to showcase it. I'm not the first at anything. The only Pokemon I'm the first to showcase is random nonsense that other people don't want to dump their resources into. Scolipede into Gliscopod, decent for me. We're going to obtain that shield advantage, let the opponent have all the farm in the world, and just soak the energy on our big squid. The combination of Tentacruel and Cradily is probably the best core in this. If the opponent switches out into something Tentacruel doesn't want to see and bank this energy, I can just punish them with Cradily, or at least that's the plan anyway. The opponent content to stay in. They fully farm me down, and out comes Swampert. It's kind of mad that despite Tentacruel taking super effective from the mud shots, Tentacruel should wall the moveset, whereas Cradily would take neutral, so I'm actually more than content to stay in here with a shield advantage. And I shield at the Hydro Cannon. Wanting to keep them health, the opponent sends out Trevenant, and we are full sending the Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave goes unshielded, rocking the opponent deep into the red. The opponent's only going to reach 1 move. Logically, this is a Shadow Ball. Why would you Seed Bomb bait? I honestly don't understand the concept there. You only reach 1 move. Why would you bait? It is what it is. When Swampert returns, we full send the Grass Knot. The opponent looks to call a bait from me, and no such luck, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, normal service has resumed with yet another Skeledirge in the lead position. This opponent looked to chip and dip, lightly firing off a Shadow Ball and then sending out potentially the Mirror or something that's in a type neutral matchup. Out comes Dramper. Oh, trainer, you better believe we are full sending. Sludge Wave sneaks through the Protect Shield. Tentacruel able to Acid farm down. That is a classic case of what I like to call the opponent fucked about and they found out. Back out comes Skeledirge, and Skeledirge not even going to be able to Incinerate farm down Tentacruel before we reach a Scold, and Tentacruel is just running rampant. Holy. So when we saw this matchup earlier, I said the opponent's always going to Torch Song. You're going to see an instant no shield here. Trainer, Shadow Ball me, I dare you. Thought not. The opponent fires off the Torch Song, then pivot out into Virizion, and this is where things get interesting. I could 1-hit KO. However, I don't actually want to knock them out, because that'd give farm to Skeledirge. Instead, what I want to do is farm them down. Trainer Stone Edge me. There's the Stone Edge. We're not even tapping. They're in 2 acid range. They get 2 double kicks. They won't reach a charge move. Cradily gets the perfect farm down. And finally, Jamie Finn is finding his rhythm. Back out comes Skeledirge. 2 acids and the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb force the opponent's final protection at this point. I am going to shield up the inevitable Torch Song, but no bait. We'll be saving this opponent's fate. 2 further acids and the next Rock Tomb. And just like that, despite hard losing lead, we pull off a commanding dub. GG's to that opponent. As I said in the early part of the video, there are no hand-selected battles. That last battle is probably the best I played with the team, and this is arguably the worst. To be honest, Lapras is a huge problem for this team. It's got play into the entirety of the team. Sideways hit 2 of the 3 Pokemon for super effective. And if they've got Ice Beam, that also hits Cradily for super effective. I try my luck catching Sparkle Aria onto Tentacruel. The opponent then farms their Skull Bash, which I was thinking, you don't got. They do have Skull Bash, and we are so far behind in this battle. The opponent's doubled up on Sparkle Aria. I think the clever play would be just throw the X's and look to deny the energy. I'm thinking, I spent 600,000 dust on this Pokemon. I'm going to go for the 1 shield and Poison Sting farm down. However, look at the health bar. It isn't budging. I don't want to dump the energy on such a low health Pokemon. So catch the next Sparkle Aria onto Cradily, and out comes Roserade, and it is all going wrong. We get a huge amount of lag as well. Not that that really affects anything. The opponent fire off the Weather Ball, not that threatening. It's non-stab and only hits for neutral. We're going to fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb goes unshielded. The opponent going to reach 1 further Weather Ball. Debuff. This won't knock out. We will acid farm down, but we're just going to be free farm for whatever they should send out. Back out comes Lapras. I'm thinking, fuck it. I'm going to farm you down. We do get a farm down. We're deep in the red. That's a Tentacruel. That was an absolute assassination. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. The opponent saves switches into Belly Button. It's a great opportunity to bank a boatload of energy before hard punishing with Cradily. It usually isn't advised to give a Pokemon like Belly Bolt such a huge energy lead, but the thought process is, I want Scolipede to look good, so bank in like as much energy as I can as a good start, and secondly, I don't give a shit about Switch. Regardless of where that Victory Belt aligns, both my Pokemon do more than fine into it. You can see here the opponent can actually win this matchup and not even be forced to invest in Protection. This Parabolic Charge won't be lethal, but likewise my Rock Tomb also won't knock him out either. If my switch timer's up, I'm just going to pivot into Tentacruel and look to start getting an energy. Switch timer is up, we pivot into Tentacruel, and out comes Jellicent. We've seen this matchup play out quite a lot in today's video in the 0 shield matchup. However, I've got 2 shields, so you better believe we are going to start shielding up potential Shadow Balls. Whilst Jellicent does fully wall Tentacruel, we've seen that Tentacruel isn't too bad in this matchup. What the opponent should have done is send out Victory Bell. Instead, Victory Bell, not particularly good into Tentacruel. However, Jellicent is very, very good against Scolipede, despite the fact I've got like 100 energy on it. We correctly shield at the next Shadow Ball. The opponent then sends out Vic. We bank the Skull and look to combo of all this banked energy. Scolipede fires off the first X-Scissor. We've already got the second one locked and loaded. The second one goes unshielded. I think the opponent has essentially realised they cannot win this game. They need to throw a Sludge Bomb here. Leaf Blade, double resisted, does absolutely nothing. Scolipede, able to Poison Sting farm down. Belly Bolt also gets farmed down. I wasn't entirely sure I survived the Hex. We just throw the X-Scissor, which will be forcing the opponent's final protection. We pivot back out into Tentacruel. This Scold won't quite be lethal, but we are going to be able to Acid farm down before they reach a Shadow Ball, and we take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. What can I say about Scolipede other than do not invest in it? Potentially we might see some limited metas further down the line where it's got some play, but in this meta you are fully walled by so many common meta threats. There just aren't targets for it. Outside of like Virizion, which is very dominant, but saying that, you saw a Stone Edge almost one-shot. Victory Bell, what are its targets? It just hasn't got that play. If you're going to run a spicy Pokemon, it needs to be anti-meta. What anti-meta means is you need to run some spice that targets very common, specific, hard meta that you're going to shut down. A Scolipede is not that Pokemon. 100% would not recommend. However, you guys asked to see it, so we put it to work. If you were one of them people that recommended me using this Pokemon, give me a like. I've got to deserve it because that was a brutal, very frustrating and very painful experience. However, if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. Link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.